this very exciting launch of the Compete4LA Small Business Database. Compete4LA is a first-of-a-kind online database of over 31,000 publicly accessible small business profiles across LA County. Built through a partnership between the Los Angeles Business Council, the University of Southern California, and the City of Los Angeles. The Compete4 database aims to help level the playing field for local, small, and diverse businesses so they can access the region's major sports, entertainment, and cultural events. As we look at the next decade of opportunity, there will be billions of dollars arising from sporting events such as the Olympics in 28, which really inspired this project, as well as from major public and private infrastructure projects. This new database was created to be an outreach and engagement tool to identify and connect public agencies, contractors, intermediaries with small businesses, and to help ensure that these businesses are aware of these opportunities. We want small businesses. We want this new database to make small businesses feel engaged. We want to end this decade with local, proud small businesses who were able to be part of these iconic events and major investments. We do not want to look back and regret that we left our small business community behind, frustrated and unable to access these new business opportunities. Before we get going, I want to thank our partners who have helped bring this project to fruition. Some of these will be speaking today, but first I'd like to thank Antonio Manning, our LABC Vice Chair, who we first discussed this project with. He led us to London to study the 2012 Olympics and to learn from the best practices there, as well as Bob Graziano and Sarah Bowles at JP Morgan Chase, who helped fund the Compete4 initiative since its inception in 2017, and really thank them for continuing to support our efforts to increase supply chain diversity throughout LA and all their efforts over the last 5 years. The team at the University of Southern California, particularly Leonard Mitchell and Dion Jackson from the Center for Economic Development, have helped develop the database, and they will be hosting it. And Manuel Pastor, Jennifer Ito, and their team at the Equity Research Institute put together the initial study and methodology for identifying small local businesses in high need, high opportunity neighborhoods. And we want to thank our leadership in the City of LA who have been partners with us throughout this process. We have welcomed your feedback, especially from Councilman Paul Krikorian, who is our champion and point person who helped move the RAMP program through the LA City Council, as well as Councilman Curran Price, who kept voicing the same concern we had, asking the question about how small businesses would compete when we host the Olympics in 2028. The LABC Chief Procurement Officer, Shannon Hoppus and Andrew Choi, we want to thank them again for their laser-like focus on getting the new digital platform RAMP up and running. And of course, the Inspector of Public Works, John Reamer, our North Star for the Compete4 database idea. He posed the challenge that LA has never had a large pool of small, diverse businesses engaged and ready to go. And we want to thank the Deputy Mayor, Brenda Shockley, who is the mayor's point person on creating equity, for engaging prime contractors investing in local businesses. I also want to thank all our LABC Leadership Council members and advisor group members representing over 50 public, private, and community leaders who have advised this project for nearly 5 years. You can find them all listed on the Compete4LA website. And a special shout out to Data Axel and Esri, who helped provide the data and back-end components to allow this database to operate. But last but not least, a major thank you to our co-chairs of our Leadership Council, Brad Cox and John Vane, who have helped lead and guide us through this entire process. And it is now my honor to pass the gavel to Brad Cox, our LABC Leadership Council co-chair and LABC Institute chair. Brad.
Thank you, Mary. It's a pleasure to be here today celebrating the launch of this new tool. It's a day for accolades all around. When we began this Compete4LA initiative, our goal was to really create an environment in LA where small and diverse businesses could take advantage of the vast amount of investment in local procurement opportunities in the region over the next decade and beyond. By replicating the successful model from the 2021 London Olympics that combined modern technology with dedicated community engagement and outreach, we focused on creating a legacy initiative that would deliver procurement opportunities to our target audience in the region today, tomorrow, and in the future. Our first major accomplishment as a coalition was the successful engagement with the City of Los Angeles and their commitment to develop a new procurement system that would be regional, transparent, and modernized. Major kudos to our council leadership who embraced this groundbreaking idea, particularly Council Member Paul Krikorian for authoring the motion and obtaining funding approval from the City Council, and also to Councilman Kern Price, who first identified the lack of small and diverse business procurement engagement in the 1984 Olympics, and who helped drive the program forward to ensure we had broad participation by our small and diverse businesses in the 2028 upcoming Olympics. I cannot provide enough praise for the City of LA Chief Procurement Officer Shannon Hoppus and her team, especially Andrew Choi, because they grabbed the ownership of the challenge and they guided the city and the consultant teams to develop the new system dubbed the Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement, or RAMP. And now, after a lot of heavy lifting by the many teams, we are formally launching the Compete4LA Small Business Database, which will provide a pathway to engage small and diverse businesses onto the new RAMP system to allow small and diverse local businesses to be more competitive for all the procurement opportunities that we have here in Los Angeles. The Compete4LA website will include a direct link for small and diverse businesses to register on the RAMP system. RAMP will also be an outstanding sourcing tool for prime contractors who want to identify local, small, and diverse businesses to provide products and services in proximity to their projects or their event sites. As a real estate developer in the LA region who is focused on local, small, and diverse business procurement sourcing, we're really excited to have the RAMP platform to find local businesses to join us in our developments at Trammell Crow Company. I really, really do thank all of you for this major achievement, because it is a major achievement. I'd like to now welcome my co-chair, John Vane, who, among many of his leadership roles in LA, is the president of the LA City Tourism Board of Commissioners and chairman of Biology Works. John, welcome.
Thanks, Brad, very much. It's great that after all these years of research, coalition building, advocacy, and development, we've reached this point where we have the infrastructure in place to start bridging the gap between the number of small businesses in Los Angeles and the array of contract opportunities. Lots of organizations, both public and private, work very hard to bring these opportunities to LA. And because of the friction in making these small and diverse businesses aware of these opportunities and vice versa, it's been a challenge, but Compete4LA should help bridge that gap. Today, you will all see a presentation of the new database, and then after the event, we'll be able to register and begin using Compete4LA for yourselves at compete4la.usc.edu. As Mary mentioned, Compete4LA will host over 31,000 businesses across Los Angeles County. Only businesses with fewer than 20 employees and $1 million in gross receipts are included. The first phase of this new database focused on 8 key industry sectors that are most likely to have the highest amount of contract opportunities stemming from the wave of incoming sports, entertainment, cultural events. Those 8 sectors are highlighted on the website. To meet the needs of the various stakeholders who will be using Compete4LA, the database allows for searching and filtering by industry sector, geography, and a tiered system developed by USC's Equity Research Institute. 3 tiers are included: information short, opportunity rich, and equity ready. Each represent a combination of the level of readiness, need, and investment in their respective geographies. Dr. Manuel Pastor will give a little bit more information on that shortly. We look forward to you all having the opportunity to test out the database, and we encourage you to make sure your network's members and partners become aware of it, because it's only with our collective efforts that this is going to be able to realize its potential. With that, I'd like to welcome Bob Graziano, who has many, many hats in the city of LA, but a couple of them are vice chairman of private banking at JP Morgan Chase and chair of the board of directors of the LA Sports and Entertainment Commission. Bob, I see Brad on my picture, so sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you, John. You're a good friend, and I'm really honored to call so many of you on the call today, partners and friends. It's really no secret that small businesses are the backbone of our economy. And as a firm, JP Morgan Chase serves over 3 million small businesses nationwide. But even more so, investing in the success of minority small businesses here in Los Angeles and throughout the country is one of the most important things we do here at JP Morgan Chase. To that end, some of you may have heard that JP Morgan Chase recently announced a $30 billion commitment over the next 5 years to advance racial equity for historically unrepresented communities. And as part of that commitment, we're directing a tremendous amount of energy towards capital and mentoring for Black and Latino small business owners. We're also making a significant investment in Black, Hispanic, and Latino-owned financial institutions that provide critical services to underserved communities, including minority depository institutions and community development financial institutions. In fact, in the first year since announcing our racial equity commitment, we invested more than $100 million of equity in 14 diverse owned or led MDIs and CDFIs that serve more than 87 communities in 18 states and the District of Columbia. In addition, last September, we launched the Los Angeles Entrepreneurs of Color Fund, and this is a $3 million program that helps to increase capital to finance and strengthen diverse small business owners across Los Angeles. And finally, in the last year, we also launched the Minority Entrepreneurs Program. Here in LA, with the program, we accelerate business growth for Black and Hispanic entrepreneurs in historically underserved areas by providing capital, mentorship, and financial planning. And through this initiative, small business owners are matched with a senior business consultant who offers mentorship, financial growth, planning, business development, and tools to help them grow. This is available to small business owners, whether they're Chase customers or non-customers alike. The program is in 13 US cities, including Los Angeles, the Inland Empire, and the Bay Area. It's programs like this that bring us to moments like today. We believe that businesses like ours have a responsibility to step up and lift up our community with us. So in closing, I just want to say we should all be proud. I mean, as Los Angelinos, we should all be proud of LA's economic success. The greater LA metro area is the most dynamic market for small businesses in our country. Our area is home to over 250,000 small businesses, making this the largest small business economy in America. Los Angeles is brimming with opportunity for small business. It's critical that we ensure that LA's diverse business thrive from this growth. And while there's much work to be done, we know that locally our support for programs like Compete4LA, one, meet the needs of diverse entrepreneurs and helps build a more inclusive economy that is fair and works for everyone. I want to thank everyone who made today possible and the Los Angeles Business Council for all of their efforts in creating Compete4LA. And now I'll hand over to the stage to Chincy Mouton, who oversees the Business Connect program for the Los Angeles Sports and Entertainment Commission. That, as John mentioned, the board I chair. Chincy's a friend. She did a tremendous amount of work on the Business Connect program for the Super Bowl. As many of you may have heard, we were named a host city for the World Cup in 2026 last week, and we still have a lot of work to do on that, but a lot of that work is going to fall on Chincy's shoulders. So Chincy, thank you for bringing the LA small business community together, and thank you to everyone on the call. Chincy.
Thank you, Bob. First, I want to congratulate LABC, the City of Los Angeles, and everyone involved in reaching a tremendous milestone in bringing this database to life. On behalf of the Los Angeles Sports and Entertainment Commission, thank you for your partnership, especially over the last couple of years. With your support and collaboration, the Super Bowl provided a much-needed boost to local business owners, generated millions of dollars in economic impact, and offered community legacy initiatives while developing while delivering the fan experience of a lifetime. We know that major events will continue to have an impact on our communities and local businesses as we shift to focus on the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, the 2023 College Football Playoff National Championship, WrestleMania, and as Bob mentioned, FIFA World Cup in 2026. And we're still actively pursuing events like another Super Bowl, NBA All-Star Weekend, and a Rugby World Cup for the coming years. Through LASCC Supplier Diversity Program, Business Connect, we currently support 200 minority-owned, woman-owned, LGBTQ+, and veteran-owned businesses to help provide contracting opportunities, networking, and professional development in connection with these major events. It's exciting knowing that the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games will use the RAMP system in the years ahead, and we are excited for the launch of this database and will encourage all of our 200 Business Connect members to take advantage of this opportunity. So thank you again.
So it's now my honor to welcome Councilman Paul Krikorian. Paul Krikorian is the city, as you know, is the city's Budget and Finance Committee Chair. He's a champion for all things small business. And from our very first meeting on this project, the council member took leadership in moving the city forward and advancing its efforts to reform its procurement system and increase access to opportunities for local businesses. He has diligently worked to ensure that the LA 28 Olympics will utilize this new system and in turn increase supplier diversity for its procurements. We thank him greatly and would not be here today without him. Please welcome Paul Krikorian.
Well, thank you very much, Mary, for that very kind introduction. And more important, thank you for your extraordinary partnership over all these years. LABC has been such an important leader in helping Los Angeles define clearer goals for encouraging small business and business in general, for ensuring that we continue to have what Bob Graziano correctly described as the most dynamic environment for small business in America. And I'm glad that you reminded us of that, Bob, because very often we hear so much of the discussion about business in Los Angeles as we hear plenty of negatives. But the truth is that over the course of the last several decades, this economy has really boomed. And although small businesses have been hurt of late, through COVID, small businesses remain today, as they were before COVID, the backbone of the local economy. The vast majority of our jobs are created by small businesses. The vast majority of our gross receipts are brought in by small businesses. The vast majority of the number of businesses that are registered in the city of Los Angeles are small businesses. And yet we know that too often those businesses are left out of many of the opportunities that are available to larger businesses that have the means to be informed about opportunities, that have the means to be able to take time off to follow what's going on in City Hall, that have the means to be able to hire lobbyists and lawyers and so forth. Our small business community, for the most part, is trying to ensure that on a day-to-day basis, they're meeting payroll and paying the rent and keeping their doors open, and they don't have time to be engaged in that. In addition, it's expensive doing business in Los Angeles. So when a local business has to compete against an out-of-state business for procurement opportunities, very often the local business is disadvantaged by the local costs. So those are some of the reasons that we have really focused a lot of our attention on trying to create a greater opportunity for our small business community through procurement reform, through our local business preference ordinance, through the creation of our jobs and economic development incentives zones here in Los Angeles to encourage more investment in disadvantaged communities. There are any number of different steps that we're taking to try to lift up small businesses in this city. Now, we have a rare opportunity right now in Los Angeles, because when you look at all the major events that everybody focuses their attention on, notably the 2028 Olympics, the others that have been mentioned, the World Cup, the All-Star Games, Super Bowls, so many other big events like that. These are great opportunities for small businesses to really have an opportunity to shine and to profit. And yet, historically, large events like that have been dominated in their procurement process by larger players. So the Compete4LA database and our LA Ramp procurement system will be the tools that give everyone the opportunity to more fairly compete, to have an opportunity to be married to prime contractors who may have access to some of those larger contracts. And that will open up countless doors of opportunity for our local businesses. But in addition to those local large events that we've focused a lot of our attention on, there's just tremendous investment going on right now because of the American Rescue Plan and the federal infrastructure bill and the state investments in infrastructure, Metro's investments here, LAUSD's investments. There's tremendous investment going into infrastructure, and it's essential that our small business community be able to participate in all of those things as well. RAMP also gives that opportunity, as will Compete4LA. So I want to talk for a moment just about some of the things that are going on with the Olympics, because that's how this kind of got started. We really, as Mary said, followed the best practices that London had launched during the London Olympics. And I think Compete4LA, thanks to everyone involved among the panelists who got this going, is really the opportunity to make sure the 28 Olympics lifts all boats in Los Angeles and not just a few large contractors. So, and we've stressed that with LA28. We've demanded that, in fact, with LA28. And through my work on the Olympic committee, we've ensured that the organizing committee will establish the community business and procurement program goals, which will include extensive specific outreach to businesses that aren't usually represented in large-scale events. The LA28 committee will establish a working group to be able to further achieve those goals. And we've pressed in every meeting to ensure that our small business community is included through Compete4LA and through using the city's RAMP procurement platform. In addition, the LA28 committee will establish a volunteer program to make sure that there's public engagement and participation in the success of the game. And importantly, they'll be leveraging existing programs that we have at EWDD to do workforce outreach and development. So they'll be establishing a local hire working group for the purposes of achieving more local hire, and they'll be using programs that we already have in place, like LA Rise, that will leverage the game's opportunities to support social enterprise community partners and develop a pipeline of workers, especially from disadvantaged backgrounds, including our homeless residents, to enhance the existing city programs and to be able to ensure that, again, these economic opportunities lift all boats. So with that, I just want to thank everybody. I'm so excited about this launch. 4 months ago, we launched RAMP, and we're already seeing the success that it's generating. And with the Compete4LA database as a partner to RAMP, it's going to be even more successful still. And so I again want to thank LABC, all of our partners at USC, and of course, within the city family, Shannon Hoppus and her team, and John Reamer and his extraordinary team as well. And especially my partner in all of this on the council, somebody who's been really dedicated and committed to economic development and jobs creation throughout his public service career, my colleague, our chair of the Economic Development Committee, Councilmember Curran Price. So thank you very much, everybody, and look forward to seeing you on the database and on LA Ramp.
Thank you, Councilman Krikorian. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for getting this done in the middle of COVID, because I think that was above and beyond, okay, because there would have been a legitimate reason to have maybe stalled out, but you did not, you did the opposite. I think we accelerated. We We didn't reverse speed, right? So I am now honored to introduce Councilman Curran Price, who needs no introduction because basically Councilman Krikorian just introduced him. But I do want to say that, yes, he is the chair of the city's Economic Development and Jobs Committee. But much more importantly, I think he was the strongest voice in the entire Olympic dialogue, and somebody we visited early 5 years ago who really remembered what had happened during LA 84 and knew to raise his voice and to talk about creating opportunity for local small businesses with this important event coming to LA. So he is a champion in District 9. There is many outstanding examples. I mean, the local hire and outreach for the Lucas Museum and the USC Village they should be poster childs for what we could do everywhere in LA. I'm hoping, Councilman Price, you help change the culture of LA, that all primes want to be stars like the Lucas Museum and USC. So with that, please welcome Councilman Curran Price.
Well, thank you, Mary. It really is an honor to be with you and all of the partners this afternoon. This is a truly historic occasion, and there's lots of congratulations to go around because there's been lots of hard work. But as we all know, there's lots more hard work to do. LA is continuing to redefine itself, and I think that's certainly been evident from the comments that have been made so far. But just look across the city and you see the changing or an emerging skyline, new options in transportation, exciting venues, amazing world-class events. This is what redefinition means. It's an opportunity for greater equity for our small and underserved businesses. As chair of the Economic Development and Jobs Committee and a former business owner, I see myself in those minority-owned businesses that are still recovering and trying to move their business and our community forward. And I think that my role as chair is trying to help cultivate those opportunities. And so you're right, Mary. When this idea was first broached almost 5 or 6 years ago, I was a quick supporter because I knew that there were some obstacles, but the opportunities were even greater. And so I'm glad that we've been able to see that on the front. In 2017, when we learned that the LA would be hosting the Olympics, I knew that there was going to be a unique and critical opportunity in how we could leverage this world-class event for our own local businesses. And by the folks who are around on this call, you certainly shared that enthusiasm. And I think that's something that has given us all some wind. In my district, we've seen the Bank of California Stadium, the USC Olympic Village, the Coliseum renovations, now the Lucas Museum, have really been a shot in the arm for minority, women-owned, disadvantaged suppliers in our city. And from these experiences, we understand how imperative access to information and business-to-business connections are, and it can lead to greater economic development. So that's why this Compete4LA database is so important, along with the $1.5 billion in investments that LA is going to see over the next decade through major sporting events that are setting the stage for greater access to contracting opportunities in ways that we just have not seen before. Just last week, LA was named as a co-host for the World Cup, a very timely announcement that adds to the excitement and the importance of the Compete4LA database. We're in a very exciting and transformative times that would not be possible without the leadership of many of you on this call. A special shout out to Mary, Leslie, and the LABC board are always there. Of course, the LA Sports Economic Council, USC, my colleague on the council, Paul Krikorian, who's been a strong ally and friend in this effort. All hands on deck. And it's, I think, really led to the kind of positive success that we are seeing today, but for the success that our small businesses, disadvantaged businesses will enjoy in years to come. So again, I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for letting me be a part of this exciting collaboration. I look forward to input. Look forward to your ideas, thoughts, and suggestions. And of course, anything we can do at the council level, you got some access, you got juice to not only committee members, but to members of the council who are committed to the goals and objectives that you share. So with that, again, thanks for permitting me to join you. And I look forward to the success that we all will enjoy together. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for returning for another 4 years in which we can implement this with you, Councilman. Now it's my honor to introduce Dr. Manuel Pastores, the director of the USC Equity Research Institute. In the interest of time, I just want to say that Manuel has been our partner for over 10 years in many different activities, but I think this is now might be our personal favorite. He's going to talk about the methodology that his team created to identify which businesses are located in high need, high opportunity neighborhoods. Dr. Pastor.
Thank you, Mary. I'm a professor, so I realize that you'll only remember 3 things from what I say. And the 3 things you should remember are dream, design, deploy. The dream part is that Mary and I and others realized that with the Olympics coming to Los Angeles in 2028, we were all trying to be a world-class city. World-class in terms of transit, world-class in terms of venues, world-class in terms of sports. We also wanted to be world-class in terms of business opportunities, social justice, and equity, particularly racial equity. So how do we become world-class in that, as well as in our transit systems, venues, and sports? And that's all about design. And so what we tried to do was to design something that would help to address the social justice needs and economic opportunities that are out there by breaking neighborhoods into 3 categories. Information short. These are neighborhoods that have a lot of need and don't have a lot of small businesses, and actually have some programs that are already there for the neighborhoods. So they need a little bit more information. The second tier are opportunity rich. These are neighborhoods that are high need. There's actually a lot of opportunity there because of other kinds of programs. Still small business priority. How do we make sure that we get the information to them? And the final is what we call equity ready. Now, often when people define these neighborhoods, high need neighborhoods don't have as many small businesses as they should have. There's not a lot of programs already there. They define them in terms of their deficits, what's missing. We decide to define them as equity ready. They are ready to jump into the equitable opportunities that something like Compete4LA can provide to them. So with these 3 different tiers, we then try to identify 8 industry sectors: construction, manufacturing, wholesale trade, retail trade, transportation and warehouse, information, professional services, and particularly a combination in food services. And how do we marry that with the kind of data that we've got on small businesses? So that part of the design, we then moved over to our colleagues at the USC Center for Economic Development, and they're going to talk a little bit about that part of the design and actually also the part of deployment that will make that possible. And Mary, you will be surprised that you gave me 5 minutes and I only took 3. I am an unusual academic. Let me turn things over, I think, to Rachel Levy, who will walk us through what our colleagues at USC have been designing and are getting ready to deploy. Go.
Yes, thank you, Manuel, for the introduction. And I am going to spotlight myself here. But so I just want to thank USC and the City of Los Angeles for helping us develop the website here. So you guys all have the link now in your chat, and you can pull it up and start playing around. But I just wanted to highlight a few little areas for you as you search. So this is where you're going to access the database. This is where you're going to start connecting. Here, you're going to, first I'm going to point out, this is how you're going to access. So from here, you're going to sign up for the first time. And then after you sign up for the first time, you're just going to go to log in and you can access there. But we also wanted to flag on this page as well, the Small Business Resource Center. This is something that we're going to keep updated as an additional benefit to all of the small businesses out there. We want to make sure that you are being connected to all the resources possible for you. And so here is where we have compiled quite a comprehensive list of people who can help you either get certified with job training, with technical training, whatever it is you may need, you will find it here. So as you guys are accessing the database itself, we just wanted to make sure that you guys see all of the opportunities available here. We really want to help you guys grow. So this is not a one-way street. We understand that. This definitely takes a village to grow businesses. And we hope to build a supportive network for you all. As well, based on what Dr. Pastor just said, you can find the methodology here. So this is where we are going to explain who is in this database and why. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dion Jackson at USC, who is going to give you a little demo, tutorial, and overview of the database itself. So thank you all. Dion, let's get you going here.
Okay, now you should be able to see my presentation. I am a program director with the USC Center for Economic Development, which is an applied research center in the Saul Price School of Public Policy at the University of Southern California. We're an outreach arm of the school and provide practical experience for students seeking a career in economic development. The center serves as a leader in facilitating sustainable economic development opportunities throughout Southern and Central California, and our partners include community-based organizations, public agencies, and private entities. We provide technical assistance to grow local and regional economies by enhancing their functional capacity. We tap into the energy, enthusiasm, and talent of the school's faculty, staff, and students to do that. So with LABC, we've created this database. You've heard from Manuel. You've seen information from Rachel. I'm going to walk you through how you get access to it. Now, the database itself is set up to be used by those people who are looking for small businesses. There's a second piece of the website, which I'll get to at the very end, which is how small businesses can look and see their and add to the information that we have in the database. So if you're a small business, bear with me, I will get to you at the end. So on the web page, to sign up originally, you want to click this button that says sign up. You will read this information, which is the purpose and terms. You can download up to 200 records per query. After the first 200 cumulative that you have downloaded, there's a nominal fee of 10 cents per record, which you'll be billed for on a monthly basis by Data Axle, who provided us with this information. Now, there may be 1,000 businesses of a particular type. I don't expect any of you to be looking for 1,000 options. You're going to be trying to hone that down, which we'll show you in a moment. There's also a licensing agreement. This basically says you can use this information for your own personal use to acquire and procure suppliers, but you can't use it to publish in any format. So you will fill out information that lets us know who you are so that we know how to better serve you as a user of the website. We're interested in finding out, how you heard about it so that we can more effectively let other people know about the website. And you need to agree to the user licensing agreement. So make sure that you do peruse that. And if you have any questions, you can contact me. My contact information is on the website. Once you do that, you'll be sent to, once you hit submit, this pop-up window will happen, which is where you create your account with Esri, which gives you access to the business downloader. It's very straightforward. They're going to verify your account by sending you an email. When you get that email, you have information that you will then use to create that account. Once you've created that account, you want to keep that username and password just like with any other website so that you can gain access multiple times. So to actually access it, you will go to the login button. You can either do it here at the top of the screen or down here where you created your credentials. When you do that, you'll be taken to a place where you're going to put in your Esri username and password. And then you'll be taken to the Compete4LA small business database website. And you can mark this URL down once you've gotten into it. There are two ways to sign in, either here at the top or in the middle of the screen. Both of them ask you the exact same information. One produces a pop-up and one takes you to a different page and then sends you back. Once you get in, you're going to see this paragraph at the top reminding you that you can get up to 200 records for free. After that, it's a nominal fee of 10 cents per record. And you will click this link here, click here for the business downloader. This is the page to bookmark, and this PowerPoint slides are coming to you after the presentation if you participated today. So no need to try and scribble this all down real quick. So the business downloader, when you open it up, it's going to show you a map of Southern California with LA County identified, showing all of these clusters of businesses. These businesses represent the 3 tiers that Manuel described. On this website, you have 3 functions. You have the filter function, which gives you the selection criteria for filtering the list of just over 30,000 small businesses. Then you have the table function down here. Once you've identified the businesses you want to know more about, you click table and you'll actually see a table of all the information that we have on each one of those businesses. And then once you have determined which of those businesses you want to actually download the information with, you would click the download button. And we'll walk you through this a little bit more. So there are 4 functions in the filter. There's the industry. There are descriptions of both the SIC and the NAICS codes. So the definitions there, Standard Industry Classification and North American Industry Classification System. It did replace the SIC in 1997, but people still use both, so we've provided both. The codes and the descriptions are in the database, but because most people are going to be looking for a type of activity that they need, something service or a good, we use the descriptions for searching in the database. Then you also have geography options. Now let me show you the searchable industry sectors. We'll go through these one by one. When you select your industry sector filters, the resulting list of companies will include only those companies that meet all the filters selected. So it's recommended that you start your search by selecting only one SIC and peruse the results to determine if selecting a secondary SIC is relevant. Not all companies have a secondary one, but if you pick 2, you're only going to get the companies that match both. So start with the wide funnel, and then you can go down after that. So some of the examples that you might find in the database: caterers, security guards and patrol service, silk screening printing, traffic control services, and videography. This is what the filter looks like. When you click that, it's going to open up below it. I just gave you a blown up so you can actually read it on the screen. So you have a primary SIC description. That's what the main activity is of the business. You also have the NAICS. So if you prefer one over the other, you can use it. Then with the SIC, the way that worked, there were oftentimes secondary and tertiary types of services provided. So you can dig deeper if you'd like to. In the geographies, what we have available to you is the city that the business is located in, the zip code, and then political subdivisions include LA County Supervisor District, City Council District, State Assembly, State Senate, Congressional District. You may or may not want to limit yourself to those, but we know that some of the intermediaries may be targeting certain areas with their assistance to the small businesses and may find these political subdivisions very useful. Or as we are talking to various people, we want to tell them how many businesses are in their jurisdiction. And then we have one extra region called the Valley region because one of the developers of this, one of our partners, wanted to know if they could get their specific geography in this database. So we did provide that for them. And when you pick geographies, you can pick more than one, and it will include anybody who fits any of those geographies. So it's not a overlapping list there where they have to fit every geography to work. So it's a little bit different than how the industry worked. So the filter looks like this. You have all of these options that you can choose from. Opportunity zone is not one that I mentioned, but it will tell you if yes, they're in an opportunity zone or not. And then we have the business tiers, which Manuel Pastor talked about. This just gives you that same information he said. So you can choose which tier, 1, 2, or 3, and the 3 different colors pertain to the 3 tiers. The bulk of the companies are in tier 2. We have about 5,000 in tier 1 and 5,000 in tier 3, and then the other 20,000 are in tier 2, just to give you a sense of how they fall out. This is an example of actually going through and saying, okay, I would like to know what accountants exist in the database. So I've selected accountants. You will, at the bottom of the screen, when you scroll down, you have to actually apply that filter for it to happen. And then when you click table, this is what happens at the bottom. These are the types of information that's going to be immediately available to you to view. What tier is that business in? What's their name? What city are they in? We've already know what their primary SIC is, so we put in the secondary. You see with accounting, you do have some secondaries. They are all accountants, but some have a secondary like accounting and bookkeeping general, or tax return preparation and filing. Then how many employees are in this firm? Remember, no one has more than 19, but sometimes based on what you're looking for, you need to know if there are a certain number in order for you to be interested in working with them. And then what is their revenue in thousands of dollars? With these 3 dots here, you can open up a list of every other bit of information that we have on the companies and choose to add additional columns to this sort so that you can see it all up front. In addition, if you were to hover over and click any one of the dots on the screen, it will give you a pop-up window displaying all the information about that business. So the available business information includes the contact name, title, and ethnicity. Not 100% of the businesses do we have ethnicity, but a major portion of them. The red ones are the ones that I showed you in the last screen. We have both mailing and physical addresses. We have the phone number. We have an email available for 45% of our businesses. We have what industry sector it's in. And then we're going to be inviting all of the businesses in the database or businesses who would like to be added to the database, in addition to this information, to tell us about their SBA and diversity certifications, what contracting experience they have, some examples of that experience, and whether they have any SBA or other loan experience. The searchable certifications, in July, we expect to receive that information from Data Axle, our data supplier, and we'll be adding that to the database. These are some of the examples of what we will be getting from them. We don't know yet which ones exactly, but we expect it to be the standard SBA small business certifications. There are other certifications that companies use, such as Women Business Enterprise, Minority Business Enterprise, LGBTQ Business Enterprise, etc. Those will be added as well by the business themselves. And here are all the definitions for those of you who aren't familiar with them. I know one of the questions put in by somebody was of a category that I don't have included here, so we will explore that as well. Now I'm going to actually show you the engine live. So again, you go to the website, you click on to get yourself set up, sign up. If you're a small business, you go down to the next and say sign up. We want to know who is interested in working with us. That information is going to make you more attractive if you're a small business. Once you click on that and you have created your credentials, then when you go to the Small Business Database website, you will have, again, the 2 places where you can sign in. Once you've signed in, you have, if you are a procurement officer, you'll be able to click here for the business downloader. And this will pop up, which will ask you, do you want to use the credentials that you just used with Esri for the downloader? And you'll say, yes, allow. And then you'll be put right here in the database. So I'm going to go in and filter. I'm just watching the time here. Oops. Okay. I'm not going to do the filter. I showed you what that looks like. You can also search for a company by using this search menu up here. And as I pointed out before, you can click on a business and then you'll be able to see the information about it and can get some idea of what you're looking for. Now, this actually just shows LA County, and here's the business. So all of this information, which is probably a little too small on your screen to see right now, that's just encouragement to log in, get your credentials, and use it yourself and play around with it. The table, when everything is in there, you can also select, like, I only want these 3 companies. I've looked at them all. These are the 3 I want. And when you hit download, you will be given the user agreement to agree to, and then the information will be downloaded. Depending on your browser window, it may download as a file and ask you to save it, or it may put it in the downloads like this, and then you can open the file. And when you open it up, it will be a CSV file, which is like Excel, but if you want to do any sort of modifications, you need to save it as an Excel file. And here it is. And the information goes off to the right a very long way. Some of it there's no information, but for every place that we have information, it's available to see. And with that, I want to thank you all. And remember, you're getting the slide deck, and we want you to use the database. Oh, I do have to show you the one last thing for the small businesses, because I promised that I would not forget about you. Let me minimize. Okay. That was what I wanted. Okay, going back to this page here where we're logged in, at the bottom of this page is a place where, without logging into the whole database, you can find yourself. So I just put in Jim's Burgers. There's Jim's Burgers, and these are all the other businesses that are within a half a mile. And when you scroll down, you can see who they all are. So sometimes a small business is looking for someone else to work with them on a project, and you can use this. And then shortly, we'll be having the ability for you to add information to your database, rather to your profile. And there'll be a button that you click down here, which will give you a survey form to fill out that information. And now with that, I'm complete, and thank you all for your time.
So thank you, Dion. And I guess what comes to mind is childbirth might be easier than giving birth to this database. So this was a Herculean job for you to have done this, and we really appreciate it. Dion, wherever you just went. Now it's my honor, to introduce the Chief Procurement Officer for the City of LA, Shannon Hoppus. It's really nice to know that we're all basically working for her here. It is our goal to help support the RAMP system and to drive as many ready-to-go companies as we can from this database straight to the RAMP system. And so with that, I'm going to shorten my introduction and just have Shannon speak for herself. Shannon.
Thanks, Mary. So I'll be quick too. Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be here to celebrate, congratulate, and support the work of the LABC and USC on the new Compete4LA database. We at the city have been very excited to have collaborated on this project to help small businesses in Los Angeles find their own success. And never before have there been so many efforts and resources across multiple agencies to support our business community. The city is working to make procurement more accessible for small businesses in the region, and the two platforms really complement the work of one another to promote the use of our small businesses throughout our region. And by using the direct link from Compete4LA to RAMP, businesses can share information with regional partners, gain access to free certifications, and promote their services to the city and regional partners. So once on RAMP, users can find and bid for opportunities that are right for their businesses from both public and private entities. One other way Compete4LA will provide future improvements is that my office will review the progress of Compete4LA participants to measure how well they are doing within our contracting process. And we'll be doing this so we can share that information to both inform future policies about improving the experience for small businesses and share information across our agencies. So again, be sure to also connect onto Ramp. And with that, again, we're excited to be here, excited to be part of this effort in support of the small business community. And speaking of supporting small businesses, I will hand it over to one of our biggest champions for small businesses and now introduce John Reamer, Inspector of Public Works and Director of the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Thank you, Shannon. You are too kind, but I do agree with you. The partnership that we have is phenomenal. And I know the time is growing short, but to all of you who are here, thank you very much for giving us this time. If you could think back, either as a child or having children, being on a team was nice. But I know when I showed up, I wanted to see my children play. And when I was on the bench, I wanted to play. And I can't tell you how many small businesses we've talked to that say, can I just play? This is not just another database. For some might be thinking, here we go again, another database. No. This is not just another database. The notion of community level contracting reflects the city's commitment to championship service delivery. Hear me, championship service delivery. The city strategically chose to unbundle large contracts into smaller amounts, below 100,000, below 25,000, such as our small sidewalk contract or solar installation or bus bench lighting or public affairs assistance. And why do we do this? To establish economic opportunities for many more contractors to compete at the prime contractor level. We've enjoyed benefits such as 40% minority business enterprises working in this environment. This works. The community level contracting investment enables those who respond to the invitation you are receiving today to enhance their skills as a private contractor by operating in that role. That's exactly what I'm saying. No, you're not going to be a sub. We want you to operate as a prime contractor. It's going to enable you to expand your marketability because you will be able to say with the city of Los Angeles, I not only have a relationship, but I have a reference. You can talk to them and see what I've done as a prime contractor. It's going to erase, quite possibly for you, but definitely for others, any doubt regarding whether or not you're able to compete at a high level. The NFL championship, the Super Bowl, the Olympics, World Cup. Are you kidding me? We want everyone to see that you have what it takes. This community level contracting model, it does align with other models that we've seen. Dare I analogize the Olympics? See, I appreciate the Olympics, I really do, especially the running events and the relays, be it swimming or running. I appreciate that. Why? Because you see countries from all over, they bring their best. And I can't recall any relay team having every single member from the same area. Where are you going with that, John? What I'm saying is that this is a team that represents a collective best. That diversity that you've heard us talk about, that equity that you've heard us talk about, community level contracting creates the environment where those who normally would have sat on the bench have been able to play, they've been able to hone, then they've been able to increase their skills so that as they go to the time trials, if you will, and they compete, somebody might come from the northern part of the country, another from the eastern part, another from the southern part, or in this case, the city. But when they come together and they work as a team, man, do they run some phenomenal times. And see, ultimately, that's what we want. We want this to be a competitive environment that cultivates champions. So what we have here is we have the RAMP, the Regional Alliance Marketplace. I like to refer to it as our highway to hope. What is that? Helping others produce effectively. Exactly. You are able to go and do well because you've played in the game. You weren't just on the team, you've played in the game. And then Compete4LA, this collective database of these businesses that just want, can I just get one swing at the pitch? I just need one. Can I just pass me the ball one time? Will you let me run with it one time? Will you give me the baton? I guarantee you I'll do well. Putting these tools together, as all of our presenters have shared with you, it's going to enable us when people come to this Los Angeles region, they're going to come and they're going to benefit from world-class championship service delivery that every single organization, every single business is going to be proud of. So I encourage all of you, As businesses, if you are not part of Compete For, please sign up on that database. If you're not part of the ramp, please be a part of that. And for the organizations, the businesses out there, I encourage you as well as challenge you to do what the city of Los Angeles is doing. Unbundle those contracts, create that environment for these small businesses to show us what they can do. So when the Olympics get here, we will have a team that's primed and ready to do exactly what we all know they can do, compete well, and bring home the gold. Thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you're excited because we certainly are excited with the opportunity to compete for Los Angeles. Adam, it's all yours.
Thanks, John. Well, couldn't ask for a better closing presentation than that. Hope everyone's excited. I got goosebumps just listening to that presentation, so I really appreciate it. And I want to thank you on behalf of the LABC. I want to thank all of our speakers, council members Kirkorn and Price, Bob Graziano, Chincy Mouton, Dr. Manuel Pastor, Dion Jackson, Shannon Hoppus, John Vane, Brad, and of course the LABC team led by President Mary Leslie and Rachel Levy, our communications director. Hopefully you all enjoyed today's presentations. Thank you for attending. We're excited for you to try out the new Compete4LA small business database for those who are seeking out small businesses. And for small businesses, as Dion noted, next week, you'll be able to go in and update your profiles to ensure that those contractors, the city, and everyone is able to accurately reach out to you and notify you on the database. Later today, you're going to receive an email from the LABC team with the presentation from today included and a link back to the database if you didn't have a chance to copy it from the chat feature. We highly encourage you all to share this with your networks. This is meant to be a public good and a tool for everyone to use. So please do share it far and wide. If any organizations would like one-off presentations of the database that Dion provided today, please feel free to reach out to the LABC. You can reach out to myself at alane, A-L-A-N-E, at labusinesscouncil.org, and I'd be glad to help set up a time for you all. We encourage all businesses to sign up for the city's new Ramp platform if you want to look for opportunities, and you can start bidding and winning on those. So thank you all again for joining today and have a great rest of your day.